Providing training for your team might feel like an expense, but in this video, I'm going to explain why there are hidden costs to not providing training that makes providing training a lot less expensive than you think it is. And those hidden costs, some of them are directly financial, but you've also got things like well-being, productivity, inclusivity, employee turnover, all of those things that often do come down to training and might not get noticed. So in this video, I'm going to explain what those costs are and why you really should be focusing on providing training within your business. Hello, my name is Jenefer. I'm the founder of Silk Helix. We're a neurodiversity specialist HR consultancy, and I do see the hidden costs, the dangers, the damage that is done by particularly managers that have not been provided with training. But in this video, I'm going to cover the whole range of training. So let's dig in. What are the hidden costs of not providing training? Well, there are direct financial costs and risks of costly mistakes in the HR world. That can be employment tribunals, which can have risks to your reputation, as well as the direct costs of the payouts to employees. But even if you win a tribunal claim, you've still got the costs of solicitors and time spent trying to fight that claim, all of that stuff. But there's also the everyday. So if we've not trained people to do the job properly, to use the tools we've given them, then we're going to have costly mistakes. We might think, well, we've employed people. That's why we've employed people who are skilled, who have already got the knowledge, who've got the experience, so we don't have to provide training. Well, that's where you really are going to be missing out, because innovation, the world is not staying still. So if you employ somebody a couple of years ago who may well be very well qualified, got lots of experience, had some training, that training will go out of date. Training is something that needs to be done and updated on a regular basis. Sometimes we just fall into bad habits or we forget things that we've learned. Sometimes we need to learn new skills to update our skills. The world is changing and we need to update our skills. Otherwise, we just become stale. And as a business, you're not going to be able to compete with your competitors that are coming in using the latest technology, the latest ideas, the latest innovations. You're not going to get the innovations that make you top of your game because you've kept up to date. In management training, when I'm doing management training, I find that as much as we're giving people skills and we're explaining to them how to do things, what comes up a lot is people who thought they were doing things the right way and didn't realise there was a cost risk to the way they were doing things. But more than that, and this is always a lovely feeling when this happens in training, you'll get a management team and suddenly they're saying, oh, actually that means we could be doing it like this. Perhaps we should be reflecting on that process. Should we really be doing that process? Is that process the right one? Is it too costly? Is it taking too much time? Is it not capturing the right information? Is it putting us at risk? You end up with those kind of discussions, and I see that when I'm delivering management training. And the same thing's going to happen in other types of training that you do. When you send people out to training, to a course where they've just got a place and now they're meeting other people from other businesses and getting ideas in that way. All of that brings in innovation, not just from the things that have been learned and the skills specifically, but you'll end up with conversations that really do promote that innovation within your business and encourage the team to have reflective practice where they look at, how do we do this? Why do we do this? Is this something we should change? That kind of reflective practice is absolutely key to innovation within the business. Now, this cost is quite hidden when it comes to training. Often people don't link the two things together, but employee turnover. Now, there's actually estimates that recruiting a new person to replace somebody who's leaving, there's a cost to the business of about £30,000 from the time spent where you've not got somebody there, the lack of productivity from somebody who's going into their notice period, who's mentally left the business before they've actually left, the direct costs of placing adverts, management time spent doing interviews, all of that stuff together adds up. And say estimates are it's around £30,000. That's a lot of money, and with turnover, you're losing skills that you've got within your business. You're losing knowledge about your business. So there's a whole range of reasons why you want people to stay, and you want people to stay, innovate, as we've just talked about, but you want people to feel valued. And often that's what training does, is it makes people feel valued. because they feel like they're keeping up with the world as well. Because otherwise we're in a job seeing the world moving along beside us and we're not getting that update. That's really important. Poor training can lead to anxiety, which can lead to embarrassment about not knowing something, embarrassment about getting something wrong, which can lead to conversations, communication just closing down within the business, a culture of fear, a culture where it just doesn't feel safe to say, actually, I think I need this training, I think I want this development, or I could do with just brushing up my skills on that. And on the negative can really lead to burnout, where people become so stressed about the work that they're doing, mistakes they could be making, that they potentially start covering things up and or go off sick or start looking for another job. So it really is useful to make sure that we've got that morale up, that we are making people feel confident, comfortable with the work they're doing, and all that's going to increase productivity, which in turn should be increasing your profits. What is absolutely crucial is the right type of learning, development, training is being done. This is where getting to know your team and valuing learning is really important, because when we know the team and when we're open to open communication, conversations about different ways of learning, then we allow people to come forward and say, actually, yeah, I learn really well in a classroom environment, or I learn better from videos at my own pace. And we can then design learning opportunities that match people's needs. And some of those needs will be due to things like neurodiversity. So somebody with ADHD, for example, might really struggle to sit in a lengthy sort of lecture-based training, need lots of breaks, lots of changing up of activities. While somebody with dyslexia, for example, might need a combination of written and verbal communication in their training and learning opportunities. So understanding that is really important. Making sure that your trainers are valuing neurodiversity, valuing diversity as a whole, that ED&I is part of your training consideration, because that's going to make sure that you've got the right training, people feel valued, you get all of the benefits that we've talked about, because training needs to also feel like a safe environment to gain those benefits. But also the work culture. So let's say somebody says, I learn best at my own pace, in my own time. And we go, okay, that's fine, you can do that, allocate some of your working time to that. What we'll often find is the working time for training gets, oh, I can do that next week, or this urgent thing has come up so I can't do that. Whereas when you book a trainer to come in for the day, money's been spent, and therefore you will allocate that time and people will dedicate that time to that learning. Now, that doesn't always mean it's the best type of training. That's going to vary on the situation, but making sure that that training time doesn't just get sort of put off, become something else, or become, oh, it's just a quiet time where I can catch up on my emails because no one's going to disturb me. We have to make sure it's really valued, and that's about the culture of the business as well. And the culture of an environment that's inclusive, that really does think that innovation, learning is absolutely crucial. I mean, I've certainly worked in businesses, even as a HR consultant, where training, learning wasn't really valued. And we've got employment law being updated and changed all the time. So if you've got an environment where learning isn't valued, you're going to become stale and outdated fairly quickly. It's really important that you've got that, and you've got that as part of your culture, and it is something that happens on a regular basis. But in other environments, say where we're training every 3 months, where it's like literally a fixed time, you make sure that that's in the diary, it's not going to be missed. And that way you've got that continuous improvement. Some trainings really do need to be delivered on a regular basis. Sexual harassment awareness training, for example, should be being delivered as part of your induction and renewed on an annual basis to make sure that you're legally compliant. And then there's things like data protection that probably aren't top of most people's lists of kind of important or exciting subjects, but really crucial in some businesses to making sure that you don't have risk of data leaks, for example. So making sure that you've got those trainings updated on a regular basis, just to remind people, refresh people, keep it in the mind, where it might be something that otherwise might sort of slip out to the side and not be a priority for people. So the key thing is here is that we are investing in training, and when we invest in training, we are making cost savings elsewhere. Training might feel like an expense, but it's not. It is an investment in your business. It's an investment in your business moving forward in retaining employees and keeping up that productivity. And if that personal learning and development is important to you, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't miss a single video. A little like helps us to share the news of the channel as well. And if you'd like us to come in and talk to your management team, do some management team training, there's details in the description below of how you can work with me.